Welcome to Nkumba Times Media Lab. Today we have our guest, Toka Victor, who is the new guild president at Nkumba University. And we would like to listen from him and maybe get to know more about him, about our new president. So, Toka.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Can you please tell us more about yourself for anyone maybe who has not heard of you, who was not there present for the open air campaigns, and maybe who didn't meet you at any time when you're campaigning?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Toka Victor Given, the guild president-elect, Nkumba University. I'm so much grateful to be with you here, and I want to tell people that Toka Victor Given is just a very simple, down-to-earth man. Yes, born of a single mother and raised by a single mother, grew up from a refugee community and had ambitions to become a great leader in Africa one day. And this drives my ambitions to stand for such kind of sensitive positions. I love to test my leadership with something bigger every time. So there's still a lot to expect from me. But all about me is that I'm this, I come, yes, from West Nile region of Uganda. That is where I grew up, like the whole of my life. Grew up with my mom and grew up, studied, went to leadership high school, that is for my A-level, and continued exploring more in relation to my goals, what I expect from life.
So like you told us that your ambitions have been being a leader, and maybe I heard you talk about you were once a leader in your high school. What biggest position have you held apart from being the guild president at Nkumba?
Yeah, apart from being the guild president in Nkumba University, in my high school, I happened to be the president of Educate Uganda. That is at that level of the institution. And I managed to serve and deliver services very well to the students. That one actually started my leadership journey. My leadership journey started long way back, even in primary, when I acted as the debating chairperson for the whole of my primary life, and I was a good debater by then. Coming to secondary, I also participated in more leadership positions, including those to do with associations and all that. So I can't mention them all now, but I can mention two at least from A-level. I became the president of Educate Uganda in my institution, and we managed to achieve a lot. Coming to Nkumba University, my first semester here started with a lot of leadership journeys. I represented my community also as the president. Yes, my very first time in Nkumba University, I became the president of the Kakwa Students Community, and again continued, became the coordinator, the president, Africa Youth Leadership Forum, Nkumba chapter. That's where I came up with these aspirations, all to stand for guild presidents today.
Yeah, unlike the other 6 guild aspirants, we came to hear about you in the wee hours of the campaigns. Me, myself, I came to hear about Toka when I have already heard about everyone else. What should I say it was a strategy? How come that you came in last and maybe even took the numbers?
Yeah, it is all about a strategy. And again, telling you I'm being from a very common background, I need to also apply my strategy, sit down and come up with the better plans of how I want to achieve this. You know, there are very many ways of killing a chicken, but one way of eating. So at the end, the goal is how do you make it there? It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what is your financial capability for the race. We know very well that this race is such a race needs a lot of financial capability. But now, as a person who is from a very common background and doesn't have that ability, what strategies do you lay forward in order for you to achieve your goals? So that's what I put in place, and it made me very successful. Of course, what exposed me, the debates and and the open air campaigns that made people gain more trust of about me and all that.
So, as humble as you are, as humble as your background, you talk of coming in late as a strategy. You mean you didn't have to spend a lot during the campaigns, and if you are looking at like maybe comparing to other aspirants, we may say maybe you didn't splash a lot of money, but maybe what estimate would you give us that maybe was put in your campaigns up to the end?
In my campaigns, I can talk about 1.5 million that I have put forward. That is a very little amount that when you look at expenditures and the campaign period being long for around 2 months. So I realized we started, yes, the campaigns were declared, they were supposed to be for 2 weeks. But as soon as I was going to now put in my strategy, how I want to achieve everything, also got a call that yes, elections have been pushed from 8th of October to 29th of October. So this one meant I have to strategize and come with my energy at the last minutes of the campaigns.
So apart from incurring in little money, what else do you think could have driven the students to support you? Or like, what could you say that these were my pillars, I worked on this, or this, apart from being coming from humble backgrounds or even holding some positions before, because even anyone else that was in the race may have got the same. So tell us.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think the most important thing here is what you do on a daily basis. I want to encourage all young people outside there that what you do today determines your achievements tomorrow. So whenever you're acting, question your actions. Are you building trust within the people, the people you're interacting with? Are you building trust? Are you always that kind of person who is considerate to them? Do you also put their interests first? People learn from such kind of experiences. So this was the baseline of my strength. Again, the other important thing is my ideology. How I brought it out clearly, sound, and I explained it to the students, how I intend to achieve it. Because at the end, I focused on what, why, and the how. So if you answer all those 3 questions, then you'll be able to win the students' support. And that's what I put in place in order to come up with this. And at the end, I came up victorious.
So you've talked of that strategy, but since 2015, we've looked at presidents from generally northern Uganda. Every time anyone comes from either Sudan or northern Uganda and he stands, to me, I always call it a direct ticket to the guildship. One, to me, I believe there is unity. Whenever these people are to front someone, they say, we are with you and we are not leaving you. So how do you talk about that? The unity in the northern region and South Sudan coming up together to say that we support one person, and just because of the numbers and the policy, tuition policy, whereby most of them have paid or some of them are supported by the NGOs, outbeating some other candidates. So how do you talk about that?
Yeah, I talk about this in a very positive way because I want to assure you people that it's true that any of the presidential candidate could have won these people's support. But then there are issues of trust that students always attach in. For someone to decide that I'm moving, students, these are mature people and they make mature decisions. These are university students. They know whom they follow and why they follow. So I don't think that aspect of the unity really contributes so much, because if you can see the competitiveness of the race, and then you will not really say that all the people from that region voted for me because I was from there. Yes, but we also had a number of people from Central Region who were able to move with what I have brought on the table and how I intend to achieve it. So at the end, the issue is not the unity, but it's how you convince, the language you speak to the people. if it convinces them enough, and then it makes more sense for them to follow you. That's why that's why you see people supporting even their candidate, supporting me genuinely, and even putting all that they need, because they need to protect their vote. They wanted to see a better Nkumba University, and that's what I seems to have put on the table. And they're already waiting for me to go in action and to start doing business. That's all what they expected. But it's not all about the unity that we have.
Okay. In some way of analysis, I believe even the turmoils that came up in the NLM side could have led to your contributed to your success, because if you look at the 13 vote gap, you look at the one who was the second, and you look at the one who was the fourth, was former NLM candidate who stood and lost the primaries, came back. So don't you think even the division in the NLM party maybe could have contributed when we look at the 13 vote gap?
Yeah, certain things that you do image something also. They communicate something in one way or the other. Yes, indeed. What happened in the NRM primaries and all that, how the two candidates who stood in the primaries all came, it is showed some bit of greed. And not to say about that, they also previous, you have mentioned it very well, the previous NRM government managed to set a ground for some of us to come and actually bring out our manifesto so clearly. So we based on that, because there's a sign of dissatisfaction from the previous government. Though we believe he has done his best, but students felt he wasn't representing them enough. He wasn't all that student-centered. So this time around, they wanted someone who is student-centered and could really be there with them whenever they needed him.
We've always seen students' leadership and the administration always pulling groups, and this is something that happens over and over again. And it's always brought about by, at times, maybe late tuition payment, of which it is not to blame the university or even to blame the student. And these things come and affect the works of the guild as you, because if you go to the administration, they tell you students have not paid and we don't have anywhere to get money. It has always brought chaos. At times, students strike due to, I can call it miscommunication, because so how do you see yourself maybe minimizing on pulling groups with the university and having fair grounds with the students and the...
Yeah, there are a lot of things we talk about the tuition policy that you just mentioned. You understand, this is a policy that really has been taking place, and it is somewhere obstructing the achievements of the government. Yes, some students pay late, there are delays in payments and all that, and we need to understand the economy and parents, how they are struggling outside there also to raise some of these funds for paying us in schools, unless the other sponsored students. But also realize that there are students who pay early, the sponsored students. They pay early. In the meantime, such an amount could be used for what? For achieving some of these objectives. Yes, pulling ropes will always be there with the administration, because the university being private, it survives on this same fund that deposit. So when few students pay, you find that it becomes a challenge for them even to cater for all these other administrative positions or departments around the institution, like the guild government. But now, this one brings about the issue of effective communication in. That's why I made that as my framework, the backbone of me achieving my goals. Because if in one way or the other, something is not right, and then it has to be communicated early. Yes, I can draw my plans as government together with my ministers, but then want to see that is this in line with what the administration has, because we need not to pull off. At the end, we'll be causing a lot of risks there. But we need to do things. We want to do things together. We want to work hand in hand to make sure that all the plans that we are going to draw, they are going to be plans that the administration also are aware that we have put such a thing at the place, so that when they see it impossible that it will happen at this point, and then we communicate together with the administration to see the best way or what best date could be for such an activity. And with that, we also give feedback back to the students. Yes, this is how it is. We had a plan like this, but it's not going to run the way we had planned. Let's remain patient and wait for what the administration is going to have, so that we don't cause those kind of disagreements. My government is not going to look at issues of us going into strikes or maybe something like that, but we want to see dialoguing as the main way of solving or curbing some challenges that might be happening within the administration, financially or even emotionally, conflicts of interest and a lot of things. We want to achieve them through dialogues, roundtable discussions. That's what we're looking to.
So, from what you have just said about communication, I feel communication is going to be one of the pillars you want to front in having a successful government. But now, I would like you to give us maybe 3 other pillars you would want to look at, and what students should expect in your government, in your 1-year tenure, and maybe they should say that at least we voted for someone who is with us.
Yes, apart from communication, we want to look at also issues of accessibility. You know, access to other university resources may be something that is a challenge. So in this, want to see that students get some support from the guild government. Mostly students need to be guided on how certain things are achieved, because at the end, if they are not guided, they go in following even some, let me say, they don't follow the bureaucratic level of Nkumba University. We have those departments we need to follow, beginning from the lowest. You can talk about student coming to the guild, and then going to the dean of students, and then we proceed from there to other levels. It's a systematic way of achieving something. If at all you're demanding for a right, yes, you might be having a right, but then how you demand for your right also matters. You need to focus on that so serious. Also want to look at a pillar of the welfare that we really want to improve this time around. There are issues of health, there are issues of our resources that we have around the university. There are issues also of improving sports and all that. How do we make sure we empower this kind of groups and achieve whatever they demand? Yes, the university, in co-curricular activities, we can talk about football or sports, whatever. But then what is the main thing? What are the main demands? What are the requirements for the sports team to move on well? So these are things we'll be putting in place in the meantime of the government. And with also effective communication being the backbone, I believe 1 or 2 things I might have not mentioned here can easily be gotten through interactions with the students or these different categories or groups of people we have in the institution.
Okay, lastly, as from what we've heard, we feel you're a peacemaker and maybe ready to call the other 6 presidents maybe on a round table and see how best you can gather all the ideas you had to see Nkumba great again. What advice do you give to them, and maybe looking forward with the 6 other guild aspirants?
Very important question. It's a question of responsibility. Yes, we had run a very good race with these other aspirants. They were not just opponents, but they were brothers that we shared a lot of ideas together. We communicated a lot, we shared a lot of smiles together. So it's not an issue of the camp, but it is an issue of us making Nkumba University great again. I look forward really into us bringing all these ideas together. These are already key actors. Someone who has already participated in these electoral processes as is already a key actor. So I look forward into working with them. But in the process, I just want us to set our egos aside and just come back and unite as students of Nkumba University. We are not going to look into the aspect of maybe political affiliation. This one is NRM, this one is NUP. Maybe we had this conflict with someone. Any conflict that is made by human being can be solved by human. So I look forward into working with these different teams. I really would love to work with them because in one way or the other, I've seen a lot of strength in them. In the contacts we have made, frequent discussions we had with them, I look forward into working with them. Not only the girl aspirants that we had time with, but then more students from different faculties, from different regions. This is an aspect of us working together. Let's not take things in form of tribalism, in form of this and that. Yes, it's not only that. When I've been voted into power, yes, the difference is only 13 votes. But then, among those 13 votes, it's already a sign that I am I have emerged as the winner. So, as I have emerged the winner, can we recognize it? Now it's time for us to come down. I look forward into meeting them, and we focus on how we can achieve these different goals that we think we have communicated out to the students in our different campaign times and strategies. So I look forward into working with them so much seriously, and this is a time to build a coexisting society. Nkumba University, the spirit of Nkumbanism should reign in this coming government. And I assure everyone, every student of Nkumba University, the community around, that they will be put into consideration. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you too.
Yeah.